Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be looking closer at how food choices can really impact diabetes management. We're going to be exploring a document called Nutrition for Diabetes, Foods to Eat and Avoid.
Okay.
Get ready for some myth-busting and practical tips you can actually use.
Yeah, I think what's often overlooked is the why behind the food recommendations.
Yeah.
Knowing the science can empower you to make informed choices.
Exactly. It's not just about memorizing a list of good and bad foods.
Right.
So let's jump into the best food section. It all starts with simple changes.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see nuts and seeds right at the top.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah. We tend to think of them as just snacks, but they are packed with healthy fats, protein, and fiber.
Okay.
But here's where it gets interesting. Those healthy fats, specifically monounsaturated fats, actually help your cells use insulin better.
Hold on. For those just starting out, can you quickly explain what insulin does?
Of course. Insulin is a hormone that helps your body use glucose for energy. Think of it as a key that unlocks your cells to let glucose in. In diabetes, this process doesn't work as efficiently.
Okay, that makes sense. So the monounsaturated fats in nuts and seeds help that key work better.
Precisely. And that's crucial for keeping your blood sugar stable. Plus, you get the added bonus of fiber, which slows down digestion and helps you feel full longer.
So a handful of almonds or walnuts could be a game changer.
Absolutely.
I'm already reaching for the snack drawer. Another superstar the document highlights is plain Greek yogurt.
Yes, but the emphasis on plain and unsweetened is key here.
Oh, okay.
Many flavored yogurts are loaded with added sugars, which we want to avoid. Plain Greek yogurt is low in carbs and high in protein, making it a blood sugar-friendly choice.
Okay, but I have to admit, plain yogurt can be a bit, well, plain. Any tips for making it more appealing?
Absolutely. You can add fresh berries for sweetness and antioxidants,
Okay.
a sprinkle of nuts for crunch, or even a dash of cinnamon for flavor.
Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
Speaking of berries, they're next on the list.
Yeah.
I love how the document presents them as a guilt-free way to satisfy sweet cravings.
It's true.
Yeah.
They are naturally sweet but lower in sugar than many other fruits. Plus, they're packed with antioxidants which can help protect your cells from damage.
It's almost like nature's candy, but without the sugar rush.
Exactly.
Now, this next one might be a bit more challenging for some leafy greens.
I know, they don't always get the most enthusiastic reception,
Yeah.
but they are nutritional powerhouses.
Okay.
Kale, spinach, collard greens, they are all incredibly low in calories and carbs,
Right.
making them perfect for blood sugar management. And they are packed with vitamins, minerals, and fiber.
And I think a lot of people don't realize how versatile they can be. You can add them to smoothies, stir-fries, soups, or even just saute them with a little garlic and olive oil.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to get creative in the kitchen.
Yeah.
The goal is to find ways to make healthy eating enjoyable and sustainable.
Okay, moving on to a food group. I think we can all get behind whole grains.
Yeah.
The document really emphasizes the difference between whole grains and refined grains.
That's a critical distinction.
Yeah.
Whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, and oats contain all parts of the grain kernel,
Okay.
including the fiber-rich bran and the nutrient-packed germ.
And that fiber is what makes them so beneficial for blood sugar control, right?
Exactly. Fiber slows down the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream, preventing those rapid spikes we want to avoid. Refined grains, on the other hand, have been stripped of the bran and germ, leaving them with very little fiber and fewer nutrients.
So that's why white bread, white rice, and regular pasta can cause those blood sugar roller coasters.
Exactly.
Now, for our final best food highlight, something I personally love, fatty fish.
Ah, yes. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, they are all rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which have powerful anti-inflammatory effects and are beneficial for heart health.
And as we talked about earlier, heart health is especially important for people with diabetes.
That's right. Diabetes can increase the risk of heart disease, so incorporating these heart-healthy fats is a smart move.
Plus, they're delicious. Now, I know we've been focusing on the best foods, but it's important to address the foods we should be limiting as well. Are you ready to dive into the worst foods section?
Let's do it. Knowledge is power, and understanding what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to include. First up, on the list of foods to limit are fried foods.
Yeah, those crispy, tempting treats. I know it can be hard to resist,
Right.
But the document points out that they're often loaded with trans fats and excess calories,
Yeah.
which can contribute to weight gain and increase the risk of heart disease.
And as we discussed earlier, those are already significant concerns for individuals managing diabetes.
Yeah.
It's not about completely eliminating these foods, but rather being mindful of portion sizes and frequency.
Right.
Baking, grilling, or air frying are great alternatives to deep frying.
Those are great tips. Next on the worst foods list is something I think many of us have a weakness for: baked goods.
Those delicious pastries, cakes, and cookies.
Oh, yeah.
They are typically high in sugar, unhealthy fats, and refined carbohydrates, which can lead to those unwanted blood sugar spikes.
And I think it's important to point out that it's not just about the sugar content.
Right.
It's the combination of sugar, refined carbs, and unhealthy fats that can really wreak havoc on blood sugar levels.
That's a great point. If you're craving something sweet, a small piece of dark chocolate or some fresh fruit can be a much healthier option.
Okay.
And remember, portion control is key.
Speaking of things we should be limiting, let's talk about sugary beverages.
Yes.
Sodas, sweetened teas, fruit juices. They can be real culprits when it comes to blood sugar management.
Absolutely. These drinks are loaded with sugar and empty calories, meaning they provide very little nutritional value while causing rapid increases in blood glucose.
It's like a sugar bomb going off in your system.
It is.
And what's scary is that many people don't even realize how much sugar they are consuming from these beverages.
That's why it's so important to read labels carefully and make conscious choices.
Yeah.
Water, unsweetened tea, and sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon or lime are much better options for staying hydrated.
Okay, let's move on to a category that I think sometimes gets overlooked.
Right.
White bread, pasta, and rice.
Yeah.
We touched on this briefly when we were talking about whole grains.
Right.
But the document really calls out refined grains as something to be mindful of.
Yes. And it all comes back to that fiber content.
Yeah.
Refined grains have been stripped of their bran and germ, leaving them with very little fiber.
Okay.
This means they are digested quickly, leading to those rapid blood sugar spikes.
So switching to whole grain versions of these foods can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
Brown rice instead of white rice, whole wheat bread instead of white bread. Those simple swaps can have a significant impact on your blood sugar control.
And it's not just about the blood sugar.
Yeah.
Whole grains are also packed with nutrients that are beneficial for overall health.
All right, next up on the worst foods list is a category that I think we're all becoming more aware of: processed foods.
These are those convenient packaged foods that often contain a combination of unhealthy fats, refined sugars, and excessive sodium.
And let's be honest, they can be very tempting. But it's important to remember that they are often lacking in essential nutrients and can contribute to weight gain and other health problems.
It's all about being a savvy consumer. Read food labels carefully.
Yeah.
Pay attention to ingredient lists and opt for whole, unprocessed foods whenever possible.
That's great advice. And finally, a category that might surprise some people: full-fat dairy.
While dairy can be a good source of calcium and protein,
Yep.
full-fat options like cream butter and some cheese can be problematic for individuals with diabetes.
Okay.
They contain high levels of saturated fat, which can worsen insulin resistance.
Can you quickly remind us what insulin resistance is?
Of course, insulin resistance is when your cells become less responsive to insulin,
Okay.
making it harder for glucose to enter the cells. This can lead to elevated blood sugar levels.
So choosing low-fat or non-fat dairy products is generally a healthier choice.
Exactly. And remember, these world foods lists aren't meant to make you feel deprived. It's about being aware of the potential impact these foods can have on your health and making informed choices that align with your goals.
You've given us so much to think about. I love how this deep dive has gone beyond just listing foods to really explaining the why behind the recommendations.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our exploration of nutrition for diabetes, foods to eat and avoid,
Right.
let's take a moment to connect the dots and think about how we can apply this knowledge to our daily lives. It's so empowering to realize that we have more control over our health than we might think.
Yeah.
And food is just one piece of the puzzle. right?
Exactly. It's about taking a holistic approach. We've talked about nutrition in depth, but things like physical activity, stress management, and getting enough sleep all play a role in diabetes management too.
Right.
They're all interconnected.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
If you're stressed, it can affect your blood sugar levels.
Uh-huh.
And if you're not sleeping well, it can make it harder to make healthy choices throughout the day.
It's true, and that's why it's so important to tune in to your body and listen to its signals.
Yeah.
What are your stress triggers?
Right.
What helps you relax?
Hmm.
Are you getting enough restful sleep? These are all questions worth exploring.
It's about becoming your own health advocate.
Hmm.
And I love that this deep dive into nutrition for diabetes, foods to eat and avoid, has given us a solid foundation to build on.
Absolutely. But the learning doesn't stop here.
Right.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there's always more to discover.
Mm.
The field of nutrition is constantly evolving.
So what's our final takeaway for our listeners today?
I think it's this. Knowledge is power. The more you understand about how food and lifestyle choices impact your health, the more empowered you are to take control of your well-being.
I love that. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those delicious diabetic-friendly meals coming. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time.